stereotypes I've heard about my race is that I'm good at I'm good at basketball, that I run fast.
Good evening, I'm Kim Barnes-Jefferson, your host, and welcome to FabFit TV. I help women to break free of the rules and doubts that keep them stuck and live a life of infinite possibilities. So it's daylight savings time, and I pretty much skipped here because it's light out, and I almost lost track of time because I'm so used to when it starts to get dark that it's time for me to come and do the show. So thank God I set alarms on my clock or my phone. So, now this time of year, a lot of people, it's March, people are starting to think about summer. The nights are getting longer and, we're starting to get a little bit warmer. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to talk too loud because Mother Nature might be like, hey, you're getting a snowstorm in like 2 weeks. So I don't want to jinx it. I just want to say that I didn't feel the coldness that I normally feel when I walked here. So this time of year, people always are, looking forward to summer, and they're always kind of saying to me, can I get fit in time for summer? And today is exactly 100 days to summer. Now, I'm counting summer as being June 21st. I think it's like the astronomical summer. I think that's what it's called. But when we typically think of summer, it's June 21st. Some people think of summer as Memorial Day. I'm thinking of summer as June 21st. Because at least here in New England, it don't start to really get warm until around June. So I want you to, this summer, feel fit and confident and comfortable in your body. And with 100 days, you got time. You really do have time. And I'm talking about there's no deprivation. I'm talking about that you're not going to be like that poor girl who's having carrots and water while everyone else is enjoying things. I want you to be able to glide into summer, enjoy your summer, and come out on the other side of summer and not feel like, oh crap, I gotta diet because I had too much barbecue. So this is the summer I want you to really kind of learn what it takes to have sustainable weight loss. What does it take to have a sustainable, healthy lifestyle without always feeling like you have these big highs and lows where I always have to diet before a big vacation and then I lose my stuff on my vacation. Then I have to diet again to get ready for the vacation, lose my stuff. I'm over that. I mean, anyone, if you're over that, keep listening. So the biggest thing is that, we all, right now, some of us visualize summer and you're just sweet Georgia Brown. You are thinking that there's no way my thighs with the cottage cheese on them are ready for prime time. There's no way that's ever going to happen. And, thigh gap, I haven't had that since I was 13. And if you're saying you're not ready, keep listening because I'm going to help get you ready. And it's not going to be anything drastic or crazy like that. So the biggest thing I always tell people, keep it simple. Simple. Let's just say women, we like to overcomplicate stuff ad nauseum. We like to take something simple and add 500 layers on top of it so that it's so complicated that we're like, bah! It's worse than trying to put together IKEA furniture. That's how complicated we make stuff. So I want you to keep it simple. I want you in your mind's eye to think about what is going well, today. What are you doing well so that we can start to build upon it? Are you going to the gym? Awesome. How many times are you going to the gym? What's the duration of the time they're at the gym? What are you doing at the gym? And what tweaks can we make to what is already going well? So if you're going to the gym and maybe you're only going for 30 minutes and you're walking on the treadmill, great. Could I take 15 minutes of that 30-minute time block and could we put in some strength training? Can I add an extra 15 minutes? Could that walk become a jog and a walk? Could that 30 minutes turn into maybe a HIIT workout? What can I take that 30 minutes of time and how can I build upon it? Same thing with your food. Maybe you're doing great with your food. Awesome. So when was the last time you changed something in your diet? And by change, I mean, I know there's some people who are like, I can eat the same thing over and over and over again. I'm saying maybe instead of reaching for the sweet potato when you go to the grocery store, maybe you reach for the beets. Maybe you reach for a butternut squash. Instead of reaching for the brown rice, maybe you reach for the quinoa. Maybe you reach for some chickpeas. So it's those little subtle tweaks that I'm looking for. Maybe instead of always having broccoli, you reach for another green vegetable. So little tweaks that you can build on, but still keeping it really simple. Because I don't like, the more complicated you make it, the more less likely you are to continue. And I want you to continue. So I like simple things. I did a call a few days ago and we talked about meal prep. And I'm a simple girl. Any vegetable that comes in a bag that someone has chopped, shredded, zoodled, it's for me. Those are the vegetables I will always buy. Someone asks, how do you cook beets? Well, I don't cook beets because there's this place called Love Beets and they make them. And all I have to do is open up the package and slice them. And then I'm done. No need to cook the beets. So I want you to think about that. Like, what's already working? What are some tweaks you can make to what's already working? And I also want you to focus on movement. Now, that's not sexy, I know, but what is movement? Movement is acts of daily living, and I've talked about this on previous shows. We don't move a lot in our lives anymore. We're very sedentary. Like, we go for a workout and then we sit all day working and not moving a whole heck of a lot. So I challenge you, if it's not a Fitbit, your Apple Watch, whatever, get in at least 10,000 steps a day. And just focus on having those acts of daily living. Take the dog for an extra 10 minutes on the walk. Grab your kids and go for a walk around the block after dinner, now that it's a little lighter outside and a little bit warmer outside. But keep those thoughts. And as I'm, making these tweaks, I want to ask myself, is this something that I can do for the next 1 to 2 months? Is this next something I could do for the next 1 to 2 years? Because if it is, guess what? That's called consistency. And you know how I feel. I create great habits, I get good results, and my results lead to consistency. That's how you win. That's how you win. It's not this like magic meal plan. It's not this magic, superfood. It's not this, reducing. Ooh, I just touched something. I fixed it. It's not this magic, superfood or this list of inflammatory foods. It's literally what can we do on a consistent daily basis. The second piece is, what is your overall goal? And I ask that because I find that most people aren't clear about what their goal is. And then the second piece is that they're not realistic about what it takes to get there. So, six-pack abs, right? Everyone's like, six-pack abs, I want to have six-pack abs. Well, in order to get to six-pack abs, one, it has to be genetically possible for you. Not everyone's genetically predisposed to six-pack abs. You're predisposed to have a flat stomach, but to get the six-pack abs, I need to have a certain percent body fat. In order to get to that certain percent body fat, I don't have a lot of wiggle room in my nutrition. I don't have a lot of wiggle room in my workouts. So if I want that six-pack ab, I gotta work my tushy off. It's public TV, so I gotta say tushy. But you know what I really wanna say. I gotta work my tushy off in order to get that. Now, I want you to ask, is working my tushy off to get the six-pack abs sustainable? Because I work with fitness and figure competitors, and for a lot of those girls, abs are like an honored guest. They show up the day of the show, and they're the first to go. Because as soon as I start to put in some water back into my system, as soon as I start to put some sugar, as soon as I start to increase my carbs, increase my protein, my abs are like, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya. So I really want you to think, as you're doing this, I want to be crystal clear about what I want. Like punching it into a GPS. It's 123 Main Street, not just punching in Main Street. And then I want to say, is my goal realistic for what I'm willing to do? What am I willing to do to get this goal? And when I say willing, I'm not talking 90 days. I'm talking 900 days. Could you do this for 900 days? And if you could do it for 900 days, is it healthy? Because I know that some of you out there is like, girl, for six-pack abs, I could do anything for 900 days. Then it's like, but would that turn into a detrimental to your long-term health? Because at the end of the day, I want everyone who works with me to be healthy. I want everyone who works with me to say that was a great experience. Not like, oh, girl, I worked with her and she killed me. I felt hungry. I felt hangry. I just literally felt I could kill people because I just didn't feel that I had enough substance in my body. So if you're picking up what I'm putting down, that's what I'm talking about. So I want you to think about, what could be achieved in this 100 days. And I like to take my 100 days and I want to break them down into 5 20-day sprints so that each time I can say, this is my long range goal. And then in order to get to my long range goal, here's step 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that way I'm starting to feel successful. I'm starting to get some wins under my belt. I'm starting to get that motivation. I'm starting to be like, yeah, I got this. I can do this. The mini goals could be, changing up your food. Mini goals could be, I'm setting a bedtime and actually getting 6+ hours of sleep a night. Good sleep a night. Maybe you decide you want to work out in the morning, or maybe you just want to say, I'm going to consistently get in 3 to 4 workouts, no matter what. And maybe you throw in a little meditation, whatever it is. You're just like, I'm making me a priority and I'm setting me as a goal. The next phase is create a process, right? It's kind of like, if you ever go to any store, there's a process that if you return something, here are the steps that the cashier has to take in order to return your merchandise. Or if you buy something, here are the steps. This is how they have to punch it into the computer in order to take your money. So I want you to think about that as you go through what you're trying to do. How can you processize? Is that a word? Processize? How do you make this into a process so that you're not jumping from one thing to the next thing to the next thing? I see it all the time that people start over here and they're like, oh, I'm totally doing keto. And then they can't stick with keto because it's too challenging. It's too much for them. So then they jump to, oh, I'm going to do paleo, or, oh, I'm going to do this, or, oh, I'm going to do this. And they jump around like a Mexican jumping bean. And instead of saying, you know what, my destination is 123 Main Street, and the GPS coordinate says I have to stay on this road for a mile. And I challenge you to stay on the road for a mile, and when you get to that mile, then make a determination. Is there traffic on the road? Is there an obstacle on the road? Or are things flowing smoothly that I can take the next step? And that's where those 20-day sprints come in. So that way you stay firm on the goal but flexible to the approach, if that makes sense. Then I want you to just, keep on whatever that goal you set. Just keep chipping away at it so that you can look back and say, you know what? This is what I did. I started tracking my food, and so that made it really, that was really telling. So then I could see where I was, doing amazing, or where, what kind of set me off the rails. Like what was triggering me when I went on a bender. What if I didn't sleep. So that way I'm able to kind of start seeing what's going on. So that way I can start to create this process. The other way to help create a process is when you work with someone, that they can kind of be that second set of eyes, so that, we are very close to ourselves. And sometimes we don't see the trees for the forest. And so you need that person who kind of looks over your shoulder and can point out, oh, did you notice that when you sleep less than 6 hours, you drink 400 cups of coffee and you mainline M&Ms. Those things that you might not see that correlation, but someone else looking over your shoulder might be able to see that correlation for you. And then review your obstacles. As you're going down your road, there might be construction. There might be a giant pothole. At least this time of year, we got potholes for days around here. There might be a pothole. There might be a person crossing the street. You might get a flat tire. But I'm gonna take a look at anything in the past that may have stopped me. And I'm going to do my best to foresee that so that I can say that, okay, there are times that I might have to work late. There are times that I might not have childcare. There are times that I just might be dead dog tired. There are times that I might, I don't know, think of an excuse. But I want you to really think about every time that you've kind of zigged when you wanted to zag, what has been that obstacle? So that way I can foresee it. For me, when I was working in corporate, my boss would literally come at, 5 o'clock and dump a pile of junk on my desk. And of course it had to be done, by 10 a.m. the next morning. So of course, me being the good worker, I would stay, doing all of my work and then forego that I was going to the gym or forego that I was going to meet friends. And so then I had to set my boundaries. And so I found a class that I absolutely loved, and it was on a class pass. And so I had to, you buy a certain number of classes and you got to go or you lose your money. And so I sat down with my boss and I said, hey, I really got to start exercising. I just feel like crap. And I know when I exercise, I feel much better. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have to leave at 5. And I was scared. My knees were knocking, but it was what I needed for my mental sanity. So maybe that's something you need to do, that maybe you need to have a discussion with your partner. Maybe you need to have a discussion with your boss that I need this time for me. Since then, I've shifted to working out in the morning. And for me, it just sets the tone for my day. Yes, getting up sucks. But I know that by 7:30, I've done Kim, and the rest of the day can happen, and I don't feel like I'm being I'm missing out on. I'm gonna miss out on my workout, because when I do miss out my workout, my day stinks. Then the last piece is support. We all need support. Some days you are just like, I can do it all. You're standing on the top of the mountain, your cape's flying behind you. And then other days you just feel like crap and you're just like, I got this. And you just want to go to your bed and just put the covers up over your head. It happens. We all have those days. Like this morning, I wanted to put the cover up over my head because I was exhausted. And I'm probably going to go to bed again at 9:30. Yeah, like I'm 5. But who's in your corner? Who's going to be that person who's going to check it in on you? Who's going to be that person when you said, I'm going to the gym 3 or 4 days a week? Who's going to be that person that's going to be like, hey girl, what'd you do? And it can't be someone who's going to let you off the hook. It has to be that person that's going to be like, hey girl, what'd you do? Well, why not? How come? And call you on your stuff. Because sometimes we need to be called on our stuff. And who are you going to tell your why? Because your why is what gets you out of bed. Your why is when it's dark outside, it's snowing outside, it's cold, and you just want to crawl back in. It's me thinking about my why. And so when I was competing and I didn't want to get out of bed, I would think about people who had kids. I don't have any children. And I would think about, there's some mom who is leaving her kids and she got up at 4 so she could be back to send her kids to school. And I got nothing. I don't got anybody to send off to school. I just got me to get my tush to work, and that's it. And I would get myself out of bed. Now I just think about, what my goal is. So in less than a month, I'm going to Hawaii on vacation, and I will want to look awesome. So as I lay in bed, I'm like, you know what? Laying in bed ain't going to get me looking awesome on the beach. So get your booty out of bed, Kim. And I get my booty out of bed. So I want you to think about, what is that for you? So that when you're laying there saying, I don't wanna, what's that thought process that you're going to go through that's going to just say, all right, I'm up and at 'em. And it just made me think about, like, when I was a little kid, when my sister and I just did not want to get out of bed, my mom would open up the door and she would be like, up and at 'em, Adam, Aunt, and all the time. And that was like, that was her kind of like second stage of, if we don't get out of bed, she was gonna lose her stuff. So think about it. And you know, accountability is a big thing, because right now, you know, I have a good friend, and we've been doing this for years. Every Sunday I say, okay, here are the days I'm going to the gym. And if she doesn't hear from me by Wednesday about what I've done from Sunday to Wednesday, she's like, what's up? And then I do the same thing for her. And it's just us, like, you know, checking in on each other. And it could be something as loose as that, or it could be something really formal as, you know, over the past several years, I've had coaches for pretty much everything, for my business, for my body. And, you know, when I have had coaches for my body, you know, I've had to detail every single thing I've put in my mouth. You know, 6 a.m. I woke up and I had a cup of coffee. 7 a.m. I did this. And they're looking on my shoulder to give me that guidance, to give me that feedback. So I want you to think about, you know, who's got that? Who's got that for you? I keep doing that. Who's got that for you? And, you know, who can help you out with that? And if that's something you want to talk about, please let me know. And, you know, what I want to close is that we have 100 days until summer. Everything I gave you is doable. Everything I gave you isn't this like hard thing. We make it hard. So I challenge you to just figure out what it is that you want. What are the slight tweaks that you can make? How do you make that into a process? And don't make this a complicated process. Just make it really simple. Like, can I sit down on Sundays and map out my week? Can I sit down on Saturday, make a grocery list and get my booty to the grocery store, or have Instacart come drop groceries off to me? Can I think about anything that's going to pop up and get in my way? And lastly, who's going to be the person who I make this master awesome plan? Who's going to be that person who's going to be like, are you doing it? And why, you know, what, and the main thing is, what's your why? So if that all sounds awesome to you, let me know. What I've done is I've created a 4 alternatives to dieting. And basically what I've just said, summed it up in a document. So if you weren't taking notes, I'm sure you were scribbling away, you can grab that. So what I want you to do is do me a favor. If you go to my website, if you go to bit.ly/live TV, go to this episode, and you will be able to grab that opt-in, and that way you can grab that 4 alternatives to dieting, and that way you can read what I wrote and just start to use that as a blueprint and a template so that you can glide into summer and rock that swimsuit and feel comfortable, confident as you walk down the beach this summer. I will be back at the end of the month. But in the meantime, you know, grab that 4 alternatives to dieting on my website, and that is fabfitsquad.com, or you can go right to the replays of all of these shows, and it's bit.ly/live TV, and you go right there. Then the other thing you can do is you can find me on Facebook, Kim Jefferson Coach. You can also find me at Kim Barnes Jefferson on Instagram. And I look forward to seeing you guys in 2 weeks. And I hope that you guys have an awesome start to your March. For me, March is kind of like the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to summertime. I'm a summer junkie. I had a taste of summer a few weeks ago in Florida, and I'm just, you know, taking my marker and just counting down the days. So 100 days, although it's a little bit of a long time, it is long enough and short enough for you to get ready and be able to crush your summertime goals. So with that, have an awesome night. Hopefully I will see you guys in 2 weeks, which is the 26th of March. Yeah, the 26th of March. And definitely grab the 4 alternatives to dieting. It'll be really helpful, very extensive guide that I put together for you. And I will talk to you guys very, 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 very soon. Have an awesome evening.
professor of media studies at the University of Colorado in Boulder. He's written for a number of publications, including The Nation, New Republic, New York Times, and Catholic Worker. We've been discussing his new book, Everything for Everyone, the radical tradition that is shaping the next economy. And before we end today's show, I just want to remind you one last time to call us at 877-378-8669, 877-378-8669, or go online to freespeech.org. It's critical that you support this program and that you support Free Speech TV. Without it, there is no Free Speech TV. You can't take for granted that you'll tune in and find this a media outlet. You have to pay for it because we don't get funding from other sources. We actually prefer to get our funding directly from you because then we are accountable and beholden to our viewers, not to corporations, not to the government, but to you, our viewers, by and for the people, right? Free Speech TV brought to you by and for its viewers.